Well, that's cute. I forgot to turn the sound off on my other computer, and it just started flipping through the music again. Oh, well, it happens. Welcome to Collecting Chaos, if anybody's out there. Tonight, I'm going to show you some basics on comic cleaning and what to do when you get a new comic. Now, I'm not talking about just a new one. It just came out Wednesday. You bought it. You took it home. Yeah, I'm talking about those too, but I'm also talking about ones that could have come out in the 90s or 80s or 70s or 60s or even in 1930s. I mean, it doesn't matter. Any comic that you get that's new to you, that's what I'm talking about. That's a new comic. New to you is all I'm talking about. Now, sometimes when you buy them from a store, they come in a bag and a board. I recommend taking them out of the bag and the board and flipping through the comic. Make sure it's complete. Make sure it's all there. Make sure there's nothing missing. To me, that's important. So, I kind of stress that. But as long as you have it out of the bag, time to do some basic cleaning. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And yeah, I'll do that right now. I wanted to get my my other camera ready to do. I'm trying something different. Now, let's see. Well, that one's not going to work, but I'll grab it anyway. I dropped it on the floor. Just means it's dirty, right? Let's say you just picked up a copy of The Inhumans, and this is a comic from the 70s. Take it out of the bag. First thing you want to do is you want to wipe it down. Now, you can wipe it down with several things. You can use a microfiber cloth. You can use cotton balls. Or my personal preference, I use cotton rounds. And I just buy these at, I buy them cheap. I get them at the dollar store. And like I said, they're cheap. And all I do, and even if it's a new comic, if it's going in my collection, it gets this same treatment every time. You just gently wipe it off. Try to get any dirt that you see on it. I see a little bit on there, not much. Do the front, then you do the back. Now this one obviously has dirt on it, and I'm going to be working on it and cleaning it a little bit and just giving you some basics. Now, if it's a new comic, once that's done, I'll set it on the back of a bag or on the back of a board, take it, put it on a comic board, slide it into a Mylar or a poly bag, whichever you prefer. It doesn't matter. But that's step one of cleaning a comic. Of course, before you do that, you want to go through the comic and check out, make sure it's all there, make sure it's complete, make sure it doesn't have any coupons clipped or value stamps. If it's a 70s Marvel, make sure that's there, and check the pages too. Sometimes pages are dirty. Easy way to do that is to blow them off if you have some air. This one actually has some problems. It's going to get more than just a cleaning, but not tonight, not today. I do need to, I'm going to go ahead and reattach that, I think. I don't know, I might just sell it as is instead of keeping it. But yeah, just very gently, and you see I'm just using 2 fingers, no pressure at all. And all I'm trying to do is take off any surface dirt or dust that happened to accumulate in between the time that I purchased it or that I received it and I got a chance to look at it. Now, I've got comics that are going in my collection that are stacked up waiting for me to do exactly this. I've got comics that I just pulled out of the boxes that I haven't touched. Haven't even checked them to see if they're complete yet. I'm pretty sure they are, but you never know. until you actually look through them. So that's step one of cleaning a comic. That's a basic step of care of a comic. It doesn't matter if it's new or if it's 80 years old. You want to do that before you put it in your bag and board. Sure, the guy from the comic shop put it in a bag for you. You got it home. It's clean, right? No, not necessarily. Because it might have been sitting on his shelf for a day or two and collected some dust. And if it collected dust, obviously you want to get the dust off. Should you put it back in the bag that you got it in? I don't like to do that. There's nothing wrong with it, though. If the bag's new, you can go ahead and put it back in there. But if the comic had dust on it and you put the comic in the bag that you took it out of, there's still dust in the bag. It's just, there's something to think about. So once that's done, when I'm cleaning a comic, after I do that, the next thing I do, if I intend on cleaning it, in other words, I look at the comic and I see that it's that it needs more than just that. It's going to need some more work. I'll take one of my soot sponges, and I've got this one. I've used this one a lot, but it's still good. I can always cut a piece off if I need to, and I'll just go over it gently with that. This will take a little more dust or dirt off. And you don't, like I said, you do it gently. You don't press down. You can press down with these. I have pressed down with these. I've also ripped comic books with these because I pressed down. And all we're trying to do is get a little bit more of that surface dirt off. If you don't have these, don't worry about it. It's not something you have to have. It's not something you have to do. But this is a basic cleaning. And sometimes this is all you'll need to do to it. It's rare, but sometimes it is. In the case of this one, it's got a lot of dirt on it. It's got a lot of dirt on the back. I don't know if you can see it. Well, I'm pretty sure you can see it because I can see it. And I'm not going to try to clean the whole book today, just parts of it. We're going to start with the front. And you notice once I turned it over, I did it again. And the next thing I got to find is what drawer I put my erasers in, because that's what I need next. A white eraser. And my art gum eraser, if I can find it. There it is. This is a great tool here. You got these yellows. You can't clean yellows. You can actually use this on color. You just got to go real light with it. I've never, if I use it real lightly on the color on a colored area, it doesn't take the ink off. If I get heavy with it, it does. This is also a good eraser to crumble up and put on the comic and then go over it. And we'll do that. So what we're going to start with is right up here in the upper right corner or upper left corner. I'm just going to take this and very gently go over the white areas. I use these. I also have some of the erasers. It's like a pen, but I don't know where they are. I got a whole box of them, and I have no idea what I did with them. That's one of the reasons why I'm cleaning up everything. Which, if you didn't notice when I first came on, the display is not behind me any longer. And then after I do that, I'll go over to the round area And I'll clean that up a little bit. And I'm not going to try to get all of the dirt off. I just want to get enough of it off that it looks good to my eye. I don't send my comics into CGC or CBCS or any other grading company. I just don't see the need. Mylar keeps them nice for me. And as far as grading, I'll put my grading skills against the grading companies any day of the week. I've been grading comics for over 50 years. I think I've got the hang of it now. And then we go to the next white area, which is the comics code, which we just want to erase out completely, but you know, it's there, so we take care of it. They go back over here. Very gently hit the letters, the smaller letters. I would have my brush out, but that's something else that I can't find. I think the cat stole it. At least that's what I'm blaming it on. And I use almost no pressure at all when I do this, because I'm not trying to get off ground dirt. And a lot of people say you should use, and I've got one over here, so I'm going to get it out, because I use it for cleaning toys. You should use one of these. You can get it off quick with this. Yeah, you can get it off quick. You can get the dirt off quick with this. There's no question about it. But you can also get the gloss off quick. Matter of fact, you get the gloss off quicker than you get off the dirt. So I don't use these. Not for comics. Not anymore. I did once or twice, and that was enough for me. The old eraser is a good way to do it. And I'm not showing you wet cleaning tonight. I think that's a little more advanced. And this is just basic stuff here. The stuff that I think every collector should know how to do. You do this, there's nothing invasive about it. You're not putting anything into the comic. All you're doing is taking off dirt. It's not, I wouldn't even consider this conservation, to be honest with you, because all you're doing is removing stuff that shouldn't be there in the first place. Now, when you start getting into using chemicals and baths and stuff like that, that gets more into the conservation restoration. But cleaning a comic, all you're doing is making it last longer. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with restoration, to be honest with you. Conservation on comics means they're going to last longer. Restoration means the comic was so bad that conservation wasn't possible, and the only way to make it last was to have it restored. I have no problem with that. I don't mind having a comic with light repairs or even heavy restoration if it is if it's something the comic needs in order to survive. Just like this. I don't know if I'm going to put that staple back or take care of that staple that's been pulled off of this comic or not. If I do, I'll do it so that it's barely noticeable, or I'll try to anyway. It's not that hard to do. Again, that's getting a little more advanced. And I've showed stuff like that on my channel before. Now, as you see, I didn't really care about get all of the dirt off. I just want it cleaner. I want it to look nicer. Now, the next white part we have is right down here. And that's all we're going to worry about today is the white parts. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in chat. If you have any comments, or I'll be happy to try to answer them. If I can't answer them, we might have somebody else in chat that can. Let's turn it over and go to the backside. This is where most of the dirt is. And this is true with a lot of comics. There's, for some reason, the backs of comics are like dirt magnets. And let me go ahead and just do this one more time here. One of my favorite sayings, if you're afraid you're going to ruin a comic, don't try cleaning it. Because I guarantee you're going to ruin at least one. Probably more than that. I don't know how many I've ruined over the years. I do know the first time I ever tried taking the spine roll out of a comic was, let's see, I think it was the year after I graduated high school. So that would be 1973 was the first time I attempted to take a spine roll out of a comic. And I was trying to, iron it out, and had all kinds of trouble because I was trying to use towels and I couldn't get it hot enough. And Mom walked in and looked at me. She shook her head and handed me some parchment paper. Said, use this. And it worked. And I still use parchment paper to this day if I'm applying heat to a comic. Not in my press. I have silicone paper I use for that. But I'm not going to get into pressing comics. There's a million videos out there that tell you how to press comics, and all of them are wrong. And the way I do it is wrong. There's no right way to do it. Everybody has their own method, and all of them work. So if somebody tells you this is the best way to press a comic book, yeah, they're wrong. The best way to press a comic is the way that you found works for you. And the only way to learn how to do it is to do it. You can't have somebody tell you how and expect it to come out right. I might actually have to give this back a wet cleaning. The dirt doesn't want to come off. I'm not going to do it tonight, though. Get some of this inside. Like I said, it's pretty easy stuff. Go back to the other side. Because now we get to the fun part. I'm going to take my art gum eraser. But first, I'm going to use this to clean the comic. I've been threatening people that for a while. This is how I do it. Take the art gum eraser and I just go over the grater just like that. And this makes little balls of eraser. Looks like grated cheese, huh? And I'm going to take a clean pad, and all I'm going to do is spread the eraser around. Sandpaper works too. I like using the grater because I get a little bit larger eraser ball with it as far as the little tiny ones go. And for me, that works better. I do both. But this is a way you can clean the color of the comic. And yeah, it got some dirt off of it. Use this to take it off. Actually, I think that one has a little dirt on it. Let's get a different one that's clean. And I'm going to do the same thing with this back side. I need to get some more of those. It's my last art gum eraser. Get another clean. I don't worry about how many of these I use. On a wet cleaning, I'll use 15 or 20 of them. On a dry cleaning, 3 or 4, 5 maybe. Like I said, it's not that difficult to do. It's a little better. It's not going to whiten the comic. It's not going to get the yellow off. All it's going to do is make it look a little better, get some of that dirt off that's on there. Yeah, there's ways to get it off. You can use UV light to get it off, to turn the pages white. I'm on the fence about that, because most people that use the UV lamps also use peroxide. Peroxide is acidic. I don't like the idea of adding acid to a comic book. To me, that just deteriorates it faster. I don't have a problem with people that want to do that. I just don't think I'm going to be doing it. I might try whitening a comic without, just using UV light without doing without using any type of bleaching agent, which is that's what hydrogen peroxide is. It's a bleaching agent. Unfortunately, most people that I have seen online that do it, there are some exceptions, but a lot of people that I see do it, they take it to an extreme. They get that comic so that it no longer looks natural. And then they don't understand when they send it into CGC and they don't get the label they want. They get a restored label. Their first mistake, in my opinion, is sending it to CGC. But, that's... I don't think they have very consistent grading. I don't think they've ever been that consistent. And they blame it on... They say the inconsistencies are because grading comics is subjective, and I don't agree. I don't think it's subjective at all. You see what you want to see when you look at a comic for a grade. Me, when I look at a comic to grade it, I look at it and say, okay, mint. Now what's wrong with it? Got a little crease up here. Okay, that's a defect. It's got rounded corners and creases up here. Those are defects. It's got spine ticks. Those are defects. And I start adding up all the defects and compare it to what the grade should be for a comic with that number of defects. And that's how I grade a comic. Every comic gets graded the same way by me. It doesn't matter if it's a comic that was published last week, last year, 50 years ago, 75 years ago. I don't care. Every comic book gets the same. I look at the inside. What do the pages look like? Is the edge matching the word balloons? Look, these word balloons are pretty white, but the edge is not. So this is not a white comic. The pages are not white. They're not even off white. They're a tan. They're a cream color. So that's what I would put it at. I'd put this at a cream to tan, and it's got a stain here. So I'd mention that. So that stain is a defect. If I wanted to grade this comic, there's only one thing I'd worry about: the fact that the staple is been pulled. Now, for me, I have a little cheat sheet I use that I made up somewhere. Loose or detached from one staple, the best it can be is a fine minus, and the worst, if that's the majority, is good to very good. How would I rate this comic? It presents really nicely, so probably good to very good. Maybe very good minus. Maybe good plus. uh, but it does present well, so I would probably go good to very good. Uh, and then mention the stains. Because light stains, uh, I got staining on there too. Minor staining and soiling. Yeah, we're talking fine plus to fine minus. So yeah, I'd take a little bit off for that, but not that much. Overall, I would probably say this is a good plus, to maybe a very good to good. It's easy. And once I press it, it'll still be the same grade because this isn't going to change. I'm not going to get this color breaking crease out. I'm not going to get the color breaks here out. I mean, look at all the little creases up here. I'm not going to get that stuff out with a press. I can make the comic look flatter. I can make it look better, but it's not going to change it. And as you can see, it has not lost any of its gloss while I was doing that. I should get a comic out that's already and show you what that'll do. Matter of fact, I think I have something I can use for that. If I can get this thing to focus. Yeah, it doesn't want to focus. Let me check my stack of garbage. I have a stack of comics. They're pretty well trashed. As a matter of fact, I harvested the staples out of them. And I just have to remember what I did with them. Which I don't. So next time. Next time, maybe I'll show you what that does to a comic. Huh. I have no idea. Wait, what's this box? Barbie clothes. I've been cleaning up in the office, so I don't know where anything is. But I do have a box of comics that it's just, I have it just to use for experiments, and I don't know what I did with it. Good evening, Jocelyn, and then everybody else has joined. Been going over basics of cleaning comics. I'm almost done. This comic is nowhere near finished, obviously, but just little stuff. And I was going to show why you don't want to use the magic eraser on them, and I can't find a comic that I can use for that. I have one somewhere. I had one over here somewhere. Because I needed to pull the staples out of it because it was trashed. But I don't know what I did with it. Oh well. Make sure you're at on Roy's channel tomorrow night for the the Friday sale. I'm going to be there. Roy will be there. Kayla's going to be there. I think Secrets of Wanderlust will be there. Shane. I don't know if Michael's going to be there with us or not. I think Angry Otter is going to be there too. I know I've got something here I can use. It's always dangerous when you try to clean stuff because then you can't find anything. Oh, I know what I did with them. I took them in the other room because I'm going to do some experiments later, either tonight or tomorrow morning. That's why I can't find them. I tell you what, I will show you next Thursday night. I will show you what happens when you use, what can happen when you use Magic Eraser on a comic book. It ain't going to be pretty. I'm going to use this to take off the excess. So really for basic comic cleaning, cotton rounds, cotton balls, microfiber cloth. I like using a soot sponge. You don't have to. And this is, I can actually wash these, by the way. You can wash those. The white eraser, art gum eraser. That's really all you need. Way too many times. If you absolutely must use one of these, and this is an old one that I use for cleaning toys, as you can tell. If you absolutely think you have to use one, I do not recommend it. I do not recommend it. And I'll say it one more time. I do not recommend it. Use it very lightly. But listen to the noise it makes. That noise by itself should scare you. Do not press down at all. Now, I don't know. Yeah, it didn't take much off. And you can't really see any dirt that came off of it either. But that's, if I were going to use it, this is the way I'd use it. Notice there's no, I'm not trying to put any pressure. One of the problems people have when they use any type of cleaning on paper is they press down. Even with erasers, they'll press it down. I've seen comics, I've gotten comics where you can see where they were running the eraser along there and they were really pressing down hard trying to get the dirt off of it. You know, something like that, you know, and that's just not, that's not good for the comic. It's not good for the paper. Definitely not good for the gloss. You can see there's still a lot of dirt on this comic, but it does look better than it did. How many times did oops the edge of the comic? Too many times to remember. That's why I try to go like this. Go from the spine out. Go out. Go out. And if you're worried about touching it, if you're worried about the line, take another board, cover the line, clamp it down with your hand. Now you can clean it all day long. You're not going to worry about it. Little tricks, little things you can do. Cleaning comics is easy, but remember, first thing you want to do when you get a comic, if it's going in your collection, take a cotton round or a cotton ball or a microfiber cloth, like I said, and just clean it off. Get any dust that might be off of it. Doesn't matter if the comic was published last week, last month, last year, 50 years ago. Get any loose dust that happens to be on it, because dust does accumulate on a comic, and it does pretty quick. Look at that. Real quick. And the comics from the 70s, sometimes doing this is all you'd need to make a bad comic look great. So I think that's about all I've got for you tonight. So here's a gentle reminder. That's it. And like I said, as you can see, the rack is now over here. I haven't figured out how I'm going to take a picture of that yet. I got comics stacked up over here that I have to deal with. I've got comics on the rack that need to go somewhere else. I'll have some new comics out tomorrow. I don't know what I'm selling tomorrow night, except for, some cards. I've got some Marvel Universe Series 5 cards I'm going to sell. I've got some Flair cards I'm going to try to sell, some baseball cards and miscellaneous stuff. And I'll have comics, of course. I'll have a lot of comics. I just don't know what yet. But this opened it up behind me. There was so much crap behind that, it wasn't funny. It took me 3 days to clean it up. And I'm not done. My trash can's full. I can't take any more trash out till the morning, and they pick it up tomorrow. So I have bags of trash over here that you can't see. And the most important thing before you handle your comics is washing your hands. I say that all the time. Before you handle your comics, wash your hands. Good for your comics. Good for your health, too. And I say that because it's true. And it's kind of become a meme about me. Use your art gum eraser. Get a little grate. Get some sandpaper. However you want to do it. This is great for cleaning the color on a comic. You saw it here. It looks better. It's not perfect. Could use a press. Have to decide if I want to reattach that staple or not. And I guess we'll see you tomorrow night. There ought to be some good comics for sale tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to it. Kayla's going to be back, so I always look forward to that because she's fun. And we'll see you tomorrow night, and also probably next Thursday. So take it easy, everybody. Hope you have a good time. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll do something else next week. Bye.